Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited. The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are struggling to find their way in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. Get your copy of The Man Crisis in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. A Utah man wound up taking the lives of his family before committing suicide. Now, in this incident, which took place in Enoch City, Utah, 42-year-old Michael Height allegedly wound up murdering his wife, his mother-in-law, and his 5 children before he wound up taking his own life. Now, the police are seeing this as an isolated incident, but when I take a critical examination of the actions of your Michael Height, they fit the pattern and profile for beta males that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis. And it's clear to me that your Michael Height was one of these beta males who was motivated to participate in this murder-suicide after he wound up finding out that his wife had filed for divorce. Now, when it comes down to your beta males, they like to live in what I learned from Dr. Robert Glover in his No More Mr. Nice Guy books. They like to live in a smooth world. And in that smooth world, it's a place where they don't want to deal with problems, conflicts, or obstacles. And when it comes down to marriage, you're going to run into lots of problems, conflicts, and obstacles as you are in a relationship with your wife. Unfortunately, when you're dealing with a beta male in a marriage, he oftentimes sees a marriage as a one-way street, and because he sees a marriage as a one-way street, he believes that in order for his world to be smooth, the woman has to be out here serving him, but he does not think about ways that he has to go out here and serve his wife. And what happens with the beta male is the wife will try to go out here and communicate with this man. Unfortunately, this man, because he has a hard time dealing with conflict, what happens is whenever he hears conflict, he does not know how to problem solve. And because he does not know how to problem solve due to the dysfunctional way he's been raised, he winds up shutting down and withdrawing from any sort of communication. And what happens with women when they get involved with a beta male is that they become extremely frustrated because as they're trying to communicate with their partner, what happens is this man refuses to go out here and give any sort of constructive response. And because he doesn't give any constructive response, the relationship goes out here and deteriorates. And that relationship, as it's deteriorating, winds up becoming the conflict that this man wants to avoid at all costs. Now, when it comes down to the beta male, again, he does not like to deal with two things. One, he doesn't like to deal with conflict because he doesn't like to go out here and have his world disrupted. And two, he doesn't want to go out here and deal with emotions, because another problem with beta males is they don't know how to navigate through their emotions, and they while they have these feelings, they don't know how to just not act on them. And what happens with these men is that as they're in a relationship and they're dealing with the ups and downs of a marriage, instead of them talking to their wife, what happens is the wife talks at them. And then as they're talking at their husbands, these men are seething with anger, simmering and boiling in their anger. And what happens is, because they're not resolving conflicts, because they have no sort of interpersonal skills or communication skills, what happens is these men wind up exploding in a rage, where they usually wind up participating in a spectrum of violent behaviors. And this explosion of rage comes because these men, again, they do not know how to communicate with a woman. They don't know how to talk to a woman because they are raised in a dysfunctional fashion where their mothers are talking at them and not talking to them, and they go into relationships with their wives hoping that they will be just as codependent as the relationship that they had with their mother. What they don't understand is that a relationship between a mother and a son is different between a husband and a wife, and a wife wants her husband to go out here and, one, lead the family, and two, communicate with her as a partner in the relationship. These are two things that the beta male doesn't know how to do due to the dysfunctional way he's been raised, because he's been taught to submit to female authority figures, and because he's taught to submit to female authority figures, he does not see a woman as an equal. No, he sees her as a superior, and he sees her as having all of the power in the relationship. And as a result of him seeing her have all the power in the relationship, he doesn't know how to go out here and express himself in a way that will allow him to go out here and convey to her the needs that he needs, that are the need to be met. And that's a big problem with being married to a beta male. No matter how much a woman tries to talk to this man, they can't get through to him, because again, a woman is emotional and her communication is emotional, but the beta male's communication is emotional. So instead of messages being responded to, this man reacts to messages, and the message that was sent to this beta male when this woman filed for divorce basically led to this man exploding in a rage, because he saw his completely smooth world being upheaved. And when a beta male sees his world that was smooth being upheaved by something like a divorce, this makes the beta male go out here and explode in rage. And he explodes in this rage because he feels like his whole world is being destroyed. And that's what motivates many beta males to participate in massacres like this. Because when you're a beta male, when he goes out here and he gets involved with a woman, again, he doesn't get involved with a partner. He's looking for a codependent relationship, and he's looking for the woman to take care of everything as related to their relationship. So when he sees that woman, again, leaving him, he starts to get abandonment issues, and those abandonment issues lead to this beta male feeling like he's being left alone and his world is being destroyed. And as a result, what he does is look to go out here and destroy the world around him. And he looks to destroy the world around him because he feels like there's no reason to live, because women are rejecting him, and because women are rejecting him, he believes that he has a right to go out here and destroy the world, because there's nothing really to live for. Because most beta males live for female approval, and if they can't get approval from their wives and the mothers that they have codependent relationships with, what they do is feel like their entire world is gone, and this leads to them having the motive to participate in the violence that they participate in. And this possibly was the reason why your Michael Haidt went on this murder rampage, where he murdered his wife and his mother-in-law and his 5 children. He wound up taking all of their lives because he felt like he didn't have anything to live for. And again, this is what beta males participate in when you go out here and women do things and file for divorce. When a beta male feels like his entire world is about to fall apart, he looks to destroy that world around him. And that's, again, because he wants his world to be perfect and smooth. He doesn't want anybody challenging him. But the problem is that your beta male, this is why he's not fit for a leadership role, because a man has to know how to go out here and deal with conflicts from his wife. But the problem with most beta males is that they live in a rose-colored reality where they're expecting the woman to go out here and just go along and get along with whatever's going on and never have an issue with this man as related to any of the problems in life. Because when it comes down to marriage, a man has to understand that everything's not going to be rosy every day. No, there's going to be conflicts, there's going to be arguments, there are going to be issues, and the two of you
have to go out here and have your heads on straight in order to conflict resolve as related to these situations. Yes, you're going to have conflict with your wife, and yeah, while them things may get heated, sometimes you two have to give each other space. And because you love this woman, you're going to say, okay, she's not having an issue with this. We're going to take some time and away from each other, cool down. Then maybe we'll go talk about this once again when we're not really emotional. But beta males don't know how to do that because beta males are emotional. And when you're dealing with a beta male, because he doesn't know how to conflict resolve, he gets more and more emotional to the point where he's out here saying things that he regrets, and eventually the relationship between the two wind up deteriorating. And I believe this situation was getting very tense because you have a man with 5 children, and there was a lot of pressure possibly in that relationship that was getting strained. The woman wasn't getting her needs met emotionally. The man wasn't getting his needs met emotionally because he had put up an emotional wall. Because when you're dealing with beta males, it's hard to connect with a beta male. And that's one of the things that frustrates a lot of women who marry beta males. They want to get closer to this man, but they can feel the distance and the emotional wall between them. And that emotional wall winds up preventing them from being able to connect with that partner. It prevents them from being able to get close to that partner. And when that woman just exhausts herself emotionally trying to get close to this man because she can't close the distance gap between herself and that man, what happens is that woman, what she does is file for divorce in some cases because she feels like she cannot get her emotional needs met by that man. That man can't nurture her. That man can't really get close to her. And that's what leads to a lot of beta males having problems. They're thinking everything is going fine, but the woman is going through torment because she wants to get closer to this man, but this man can't see how the way he was raised is dysfunctional, and it's preventing him from getting closer to his partner. And what happens is, because this woman is hurting on the inside because she feels like she can't get closer to him, she winds up filing for divorce. And then what happens is the beta male, in reaction to having his entire smooth world upheaved, is he explodes in this rage, and he winds up taking the lives of his family or his wife. And in this case, he took the lives of his entire family because he felt like since he couldn't have his world, nobody was going to have his world once it was over, and he was going to end his world. And this is what beta males go out here and do as related to a failed relationship. Many of these beta males, they go out here and look to do harm to their families and destroy their families because many of these men, they really are men in crisis. And again, many women don't know that they're dealing with a man in crisis when they first get involved with him. They don't know that this guy is a ticking time bomb, and they don't know what they're getting into until they get married to a beta male, because a beta male will make his world appear to be good. He'll have the good job, he'll have the education, he'll be making the money. But the problem with this beta male is he won't be able to work emotionally as a man. He won't know how to go out here and problem solve and critically think. He won't know how to function in a relationship. Yes, he can give a woman material things, but he cannot meet the woman's emotional needs. And because he can't meet the woman's emotional needs, what happens is, again, the wall keeps going up taller and taller because every time they have a conflict, he doesn't know how to resolve the conflict. And because he doesn't know how to resolve the conflict, the conflict, again, simmers and boils as related to the marriage, which is deteriorating. He's thinking everything's going good because he's possibly getting attention and sex and hot meals. But the woman is suffering, and again, the things are deteriorating to the point where she files for a divorce. And again, once they see their world that was smooth have some roughness, what happens is these men explode in rage because they feel betrayed. But the whole thing is, they're not betrayed. You're just not talking to your wife. You're not communicating with your wife. And this comes and hits you, and this leads to the beta male looking to destroy everybody around him because he doesn't want anybody messing with his kids. kids, messing with his world. Again, a very selfish view as related to these men, but these men are men in crisis, and what's scary about these men is you don't know when they're going to go off, but there's a high chance that they will go off. And what's really more troubling about this incident is that we're seeing an increase in frequency in these kinds of crimes. And again, most people can't connect the dots. They're thinking, oh, these are random incidents, but these are not random incidents. All of these incidents connect to each other because of the dysfunctional way we have been raising boys to become men in this country. The way we have been raising boys to become men are creating these men in crisis, and these men in crisis, they are acting like this because they have been raised by mothers without a father or the guidance of strong men in the community who will teach them the male life skills that they need in order to work in a relationship or work in a marriage. Many of these men do not know how to go out here and think critically in a relationship to communicate with a woman. Many of them do not know how to problem solve as related to a relationship. Many of them do not know how to communicate with a woman in a relationship. Many of these men don't get these life skills because there are no men in the community to sit down and talk to these males. And many of these males, they get most of their information about women from their single mothers and watch their mothers' dysfunctional relationships, or they watch things like soap operas, movies, and television shows and believe everything is going to work like that. But no, if you ask somebody who's married like a Ringo or some of the other men out here who have been married, they will tell you that marriages are work, and the whole thing is you have to keep putting in work every day if you want that relationship to work. And when you've got kids, you've really got to put in more work. You've got to put in a bigger grind as related to meeting your wife's emotional needs. You've got to go out here and really give her that love and that guidance and let her know, yeah, I'm going to be here and I'm here to talk to you. And if you want to talk about something, we'll just go someplace and chill. I mean, he had the woman's mother there, the wife's mother, and they could have let her take care of the kids for a minute while they just sat down and talked for a minute. But again, beta males, they throw themselves into work to avoid problems. And again, they don't understand that sometimes you just got to talk to people. Another thing that women need to understand is you got to know how you're talking to this man. You got to watch how you talk to this man, because if you talk to this man in the wrong way, you may trigger this man's anger. And again, when you're dealing with a beta male, saying something the wrong way can basically trigger this man into rage. So these beta males, again, they are ticking time bombs, and many women don't know what they're dealing with this guy. So when I look at this whole case, again, it's a sad, tragic incident that I've seen with the death of this entire family, and it's sad that an entire family had to lose their lives because the patriarch of this family wasn't a man. He was a man in crisis. Now, if you want to learn more about what leads to many beta males winding up in this dysfunctional life paradigm, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you want to see me make more men's issues videos, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers. From the author of the critically acclaimed book, The Man Crisis, comes The Woman Crisis. Learn why so many women have become lost in their quest to have it all in The Woman Crisis. Get your copy of The Woman Crisis in paperback and e-readers everywhere at online booksellers today.